All right, so crypto is getting whooped lately. In case you haven't been paying attention to the coin lately, namely the Bitcoin, it's currently down 10% just today alone, and it's showing no signs of stopping soon. Currently valued at roughly around, last I checked, 65, 66K. And what's going on is quite interesting. So what happened today is a few things. I say past few days. So first off, yesterday during a hearing at the Financial Services Committee, Scott Bessent essentially came out and said that he does not have the authority to bail out crypto, right? And that is one catalyst. Sorry if there's a glare here. We also had Michael Burry, the gray short guy. He also came out recently and said that essentially, Bitcoin has no store of value, right? As in comparison to metals like gold and silver that have historically stood the test of time as stores of value. And essentially, when you start to look at stuff like this, right, ultimately it kind of signals, in my opinion, that there really isn't as much of a push anymore to try and make, crypto more legitimate, right, in the eyes of the U.S. government and so on. Whereas over the past few months, right, there was a lot of talk about it with, different bills and so forth. But now, a lot of that doesn't seem to be panning out as much anymore. And so investors, understandably, are starting to rotate out of crypto, it seems, because it's signaling that crypto may not be the store of value or growth vehicle that it's been positioned to be right now. Now, fundamentally, is that actually the case or not? In my view, it's kind of like a up to you sort of thing, right? Because like Bitcoin, for example, it's worth 66,000 something right now, but it's not backed by anything, right? And so in my mind, the value of the coin is only in relation to the people who choose to, actually buy it. And to be fair now, that's the case for, other assets too, like gold, right? But the issue is that when you're dealing with something like gold, that's physical, that's rare, and something that has stood the test of time for thousands of years, when you talk about the concept of using taxpayer dollars to like bail out a cryptocurrency, it just doesn't fly, right? And so I think that's what we're dealing with right now, is essentially a crisis in confidence for crypto. Now, what does this mean for the future? Obviously, as with all things, no one has a crystal ball and no one knows what's going to happen. But as things stand right now, because these cryptos are getting, punished, for the right person, if you're a dip buyer, then there are some good deals out there depending on what you're looking for, right? If you still believe in the potential of crypto, the future acceptance of crypto, and that eventually one day, it would be backed by whether that's, hard assets or something else. Like there could be deals there. But just with the way the market's looking right now, is there's just not that much of an appetite to wait and find out, because like from what you can see on a lot of these charts, there's not really even any like notable bounces, right, after these huge declines. So it definitely makes you wonder, right? So I guess with all that said, as far as the future of Bitcoin, we'll see what happens, right? But it just seems like right now there's not much of a rush on the political stage to, try and protect or legitimize this currency right now. So, yeah, just my thoughts on that for the day. And, in terms of crypto, I think right now I only own like a couple $100 worth of it, you know, in terms of Bitcoin. So like I don't have like a large position in it or anything like that. But I can tell you, at least for me personally, I plan on staying back from it for now. And not just because of all the, you know, politics and stuff like that, like, you know, just because I have other priorities right now. And, you know, something like a Bitcoin or something like that is just more of like a, you know, later option, right? And just being honest, part of the reason is simply because of stuff like this, right? It's just going through kind of like a flux in terms of legitimacy. And right now, I don't really want to dabble too much in it right now. And that may change, you know, but for now, that's where I'm at. So let's see where it goes from here. All right, until next time, peace.